We're just talking about net zero. I had a great idea, a voluntary tax code for those people concerned about climate change. But James Schneider said it's even simpler than that. He said, what was your solution?
We need to tax the rich. Hugely more than we do now. Right. And we need to reduce the costs for ordinary people. Billionaires in this country's wealth has more than tripled since 2010. Has yours? No, of course it hasn't.
Right.
The reason why the costs are being handed down to ordinary people while the very rich get hugely, hugely richer is because they own our media and they basically own and control our political system. So, if you want to have cheaper bills, if you want to have more money in your pocket, the thing to do is not get mad.
Billionaires.
Yes, shake the billionaires. Take some of their assets because they're really ours.
Right. What do you think to this? I mean, tax the rich, and then we've just kind of gone on to this assets. Just respond to this tax the rich thing. And then we'll come back to
there's this great fantasy on the left, and not on the extreme left, the Corbynite left, but I mean the left, the Resolution Foundation, people like that, but that we don't tax wealth enough in this country. You could solve all the problems if you taxed wealth. And the difficulty is that with the exception of houses, nearly all wealth is mobile. And it can leave this country, and it does. So you need to be very, very careful about taxing wealth. The other thing is that if you're going to get, whatever James says, if you're going to get regular, stable income, which is what government needs, you need to have people, you need to tax a lot of people. Taxing a small number of people, you might catch them in 1 year, but they're gone the next year. And you don't get that stable income that government needs because it's mostly, that's the sort of thing, you need tax in, expenditure out every year. And so every time people talk about it, I think it's a great idea, and then when you try and put it into practice, it doesn't actually work. The people you catch are not the billionaires, they've gone. The people you catch are people who've got expensive houses, which they might not have paid for. I mean, they're expensive houses they might have moved into 30 years ago, and which have become expensive. They're not inherently rich, it's just their house has turned out to be expensive. And they don't have the cash to pay the bills that are being demanded of them. But if you talk about taxing the billionaires, nationalise people's property. James was saying off-air, I made the point off-air that a man like Rupert Murdoch, because James had mentioned media barons, Murdoch isn't a British subject. He doesn't live in Britain. He's never lived in Britain. He lives abroad. So James said, well, take his assets that are here with his company that's here. Yes, you can do that, but then you can probably take that. If you took it, quite apart from the effect it would have on other investors and people trying to investing in this country. Quite apart from that, you can take it once. You can take it this year. What do you take next year? What do you take the year after that? It's all gone.
Are you jealous of rich people?
No, not at all. I can see that the system that we live under is making ordinary people, year after year after year, worse off, and it is making people who have absolutely everything they could ever possibly want have more and more and more capacity every year. That is an absurd system. It's an absurd system to have people...
You're talking about capitalism. So you want to see the end of capitalism and an introduction of socialism.
Sure, but there are different levels beneath that. When we had social democratic capitalism, it was better than the version that we have now, where ordinary people are getting worse off year on year. Most people at home, right? Think back to your parents' generation. If you're my age, say, how much of their home did they own when they were your age? The answer is almost certainly more than you own. We are more in debt, we have less money, we have less time, we are more stressed. And the beneficiaries of that are at the other end of the spectrum. So yes, if my answer is we should be taking back some of that money because we could have a more balanced system, the answer is yes, unashamedly so.
Do we need socialism in this country, Lord Moylan? Is that what we do?
You're asking a Conservative peer whether we need socialism.
Yeah, I am. We've
got more than enough socialism, and we've had quite enough socialism, actually, from the last Conservative government, let alone the supercharged sort of socialism we're getting from the current Labour government. The amount of money that the government is spending, and this is partly...
Spending money is not socialism.
Partly due to COVID. The amount of
spending money isn't socialism.
The amount of the economy that the government is controlling, which is fundamentally what I was trying to say, and I'm happy to rephrase it, the amount of the economy the government is controlling has risen dramatically. over the last few years. Now, some of that was to do with COVID, I grant you, but there's been no attempt to reverse it.
We don't control the banks.
We're just
we don't control the energy companies. We don't control the water companies.
Exactly what
we don't control anything. We are left high and dry and ripped off every single month.
It might surprise you to learn that I am not a billionaire. But if I was a billionaire, quite frankly, that had made my fortune from taking risks, from entrepreneurial endeavour, from perhaps losing a few quid on the way, I would sit there, I'd put my feet up and think, do you know what? I do more than enough, quite frankly, to subsidise a great number of people, things and services in this country already. It'd be a massively net contributor, not a net taker. And I would tell people to
they're
get
almost all
stuff
net takers.
if they was trying to take money off me.
Almost
I can
all
tell
net
you that
takers.
for free.
We pay them our rent, we pay them our mortgages, we pay them interest, we pay them interest, we pay them interest. I'm sorry, the richest people in our society are not net contributors. They are taking money from the overwhelming majority of us who go out and actually do the work.
Wow.
The wealth creators are not the people with 8 zeros in their bank account number, or however many zeros in the bank account. They're ordinary people who go out and do the work.
Next, you'll be telling me that you shouldn't even have such a thing as a billionaire.
Yeah, there shouldn't be billionaires.
God.
Absolutely, of course there shouldn't be billionaires.
So
in a society where children growing up in poverty, it is a moral abomination that there are billionaires.
At what point?
A moral abomination.
At what point do you start having an issue and becoming jealous? Because I do think it's
not.
jealousy.
Of course, it's not jealousy.
So at what point
I pity them. I pity Elon Musk.
At what point does your jealousy kick in?
It's not jealousy.
Is it when someone is an entrepreneur, they invest their...
No, it's not jealousy. I'm sorry. If you follow any moral code, any established moral code, there isn't the worship of money.
At what point does your jealousy kick in? Is it when they earn their first million, their fifth million, their 10 million? What point does your jealousy kick in? Because I'm guessing it's not the billion point.
I don't have a jealousy.
I bet you do.
No,
it seems to me like you do.
I don't, because if I did, I would go and earn a lot of money.
But how can you say
which I'm not trying to do, am I?
Well, I'm not trying to earn loads of money. You're trying to take someone else's money that they've gone off and earned.
Not for myself, am I?
Honestly.
I want to take from the rich to give to us all. Now,
it's a good job I'm not a billionaire.
I would say once you have £10 million, you should the wealth tax on your assets should be moderate.
Yeah,
because you've already got quite enough money.
And do you know what I would say to you if you ran the world? I'd say, in fact, I know what I'd say, but I can't say it on television. I'd basically say no, and that's me putting it politely, and I'd pick up my stuff and I would relocate my little self to the likes of Dubai or anywhere like that where it was a much, much lower, fairer tax regime.
Be unpatriotic, be anti-people, be unpatriotic, and all of your assets that are here that you don't want, someone else can buy, someone else can have, and you can pay an exit tax on the way out.
Well, which world would you like to live in?
One in which people have more stuff. Most people have more stuff, more money at the end of the month, and we aren't paying so much out to the people who don't do anything. They just sit on massive assets. Do you think that these huge pools of capital, BlackRock, Blackstone, etc., they're actually doing anything?
No, but
are they actually doing anything to improve the productive capacities for all of us? No, they're not.
When you say about people sitting on assets, let's just take the example, and I want to bring you back in because now you've set me off.
No, I'm just astonished. We've got this 1950s
No, because
socialism.
I could rant about this issue.
1950s improved people's lives much more in this country than the last decade. It's not jealousy. Well, if it were jealousy, I would be like them trying to earn loads of money. No, I'm not. It's not jealousy.
No, because you don't want to earn your own money. You want to take.
No, because I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it from them into my pocket, am I?
Well,
I'm saying no. I'm not.
For all of us, you get your share.
For all of us.
You get your share.
Yeah, for all of us, so that we can have childcare, so that people can raise healthy children, so we can have smaller class sizes, so we can have better transport, so we can look after old people with dignity. Yes, all of these things. Yes, I want to have everybody in the country to have that. Everybody should have a decent life. Everyone is of worth equal value. We should have dignity for all.
The top 1% of taxpayers and the top 10% of taxpayers in this country pay astronomical sums into the tax coffers of this country. They already fund disproportionately the things that you reference.
Because we have a system where they have all the money. I would like them to pay a lower percentage. I would love the top 1% or the top 10% to pay a lower percentage, because we've gone through a process where the ownership of wealth and the distribution of income and power in this country is much more even.
When you say we've got a system that gives them all the wealth, are you talking about the fact that we have people that live in a free society that are able to make their own career choices and choose the paths on which they place themselves?
So I do not think that, for example, the Bank of England giving out hundreds of billions of pounds in quantitative easing to inflate asset prices, that means that people who hold assets, and Daniel knows this is true, who hold assets get their assets inflated in price. I assume they go up in price. Have they done anything? No. The Bank of England has intervened in such a way as to put more money on their asset value. This is unfair, yes, of course, but it is also bad for a dynamic economy because it means that investment goes towards the hoarding of assets rather than the creation of new productive things. And I think, yes, we should tax productive investment less. And any unproductive asset hoarding should be taxed much more, of course.
Oh, I want Dewberry Tavern to open. Honestly, I could open Dewberry Tavern and sit here and debate this stuff all night long. You guys will have very strong opinions